Cuckservative: How Conservatives Betrayed America. You've probably heard the term Reno for Republicans in name only or neocon for neoconservatives, but this past summer, a new word entered the political lexicon. In July of 2015, the anti-conservative establishment slur cuckservative went viral in a big way. It's not clear what precipitated it, but the hashtag #cuckservative began trending on Twitter. The Twitter feeds of right-wing pundits were swarmed with commenters using the term. The term was almost exclusively used against Republican pundits who express support for open borders and amnesty. Anyone who tried to fight the cuckservative label was met with overwhelming ridicule from an army of online critics. It even got national coverage from mainstream news organizations, with the Daily Beast website labeling it as a right-wing civil war. Cuckservative: How Conservatives Betrayed America is an e-book that tries to explain the underlying arguments behind the term and its implication for the future of politics. As Cuckservative explains, the term is a combination of cuckold and conservative. Cuckold is an archaic term that means the husband of an unfaithful wife, usually in reference to him raising children that aren't his own. The implication being that today's conservatives are being cucked by liberals who are using immigration policy to demographically replace the electorate in order to secure a permanent left-wing majority. You can't discuss the term cuckservative without discussing the online community where it originated. It all began with /pol and, at some point, something happened that spawned an entire subculture that spread throughout the internet. /pol is the name of a self-described politically incorrect message board of the online image-based site 4chan, where users can discuss current events anonymously. The site appealed to a younger demographic that held nothing but disdain for the supposedly conservative establishment that they feel has both failed in its mission and abandoned its youth. Their politics are not too different from the nationalism of Bate Buchanan, but their use of comedy and their youthful, irreverent tone is their signature. They live up to the politically incorrect description and employ a type of shock comedy wherein they try to top one another with how much they can offend. They use profanity liberally and make jokes about matters that are usually considered off-limits, such as the Holocaust. At times, it's actually difficult to discern the difference between what they intend as a joke and what they actually believe. Is the guy with an image of a cat photoshopped wearing an SS uniform as his avatar really a Nazi, or is that just a joke? Your guess is as good as mine. This subculture eventually expanded beyond /pol, and it formed online networks that participate in highly effective troll raids, a coordinated attempt to swamp a comment section of a news site. Their activities have become more professional, and they have created their own websites such as mpeak.com and therightstuff.biz, which feature their own blogs and podcasts. They generate a staggering amount of original content, including song parodies and videos, as well as other memes, that have gone viral. They even have their own vocabulary that sometimes makes it difficult for new readers to understand what it is they are even talking about. Cuckservative was one of those words they created, and while many of the users of the term do engage in using obscenities in their writings or podcasts, the term itself is not profane. Likewise, the book Cuckservative does not delve into the type of vulgarities you will encounter on the sites referenced above. Cuckservative is co-written by Voxday and John Redeagle. Voxday is the pseudonym of a video game designer who has amassed quite a following in the online world with his often controversial views. Day's high IQ and technical approach to problem solving is felt throughout Cuckservative. Much effort is given to making the book's main argument that immigration is the most important issue of our day and that cuckservatives are on the wrong side. Thanks to their cuckservative ideology, America's self-styled conservatives have literally betrayed the entire purpose of the Constitution of the United States, and in doing so, they have put the very survival of the nation at risk, the authors charge. Reading the book, one might easily feel reminded of two earlier books by Pat Buchanan, Where the Right Went Wrong, How neoconservatives subverted the Reagan Revolution and hijacked the Bush presidency, and state of emergency. The Third World Invasion and Conquest of America. The first book detailed the neoconservative infiltration of the conservative movement, and the latter detailed the demographic destruction caused by our immigration policy. Day, much like Buchanan before him, takes the GOP and the conservative establishment to task, but Day comes at it with an almost scientific approach. Cuckservative recounts how, almost from the beginning, the conservative movement was all too willing to purge elements that it feared might hurt its respectability in the eyes of its opponents. These purges, which have continued throughout all of the conservative movement's history even to this day, indicated a cowardly and submissive willingness to surrender when faced with public criticism. The vast majority of the book makes arguments against open immigration and goes into detail on the errors of the pro-immigration arguments espoused by the Cuckservatives in the conservative movement. As the book explains, open immigration has been and will continue to be disastrous for anyone looking to secure political victories for the right. The Cuckservatives fail to realize this and routinely label any opponents of open borders and amnesty as racist or xenophobes. As a matter of fact, the book explains, today's Cuckservatives appear to be in a competition with the left to see who can open the borders wider, provide amnesty for more aliens, and add greater incentives for immigrants to retain their own culture in the place of American traditions and values. The Cuckservative view on immigration is dismantled across multiple chapters. The melting pot is exposed as a myth. The idea that immigrants from nations with historically leftist governments will somehow miraculously become limited government Republicans is ridiculed as the magic dirt theory. Cuckservative explains that the extremely high preference for expansive government among Hispanic immigrants is consistent with traditions of government in Latin America since the days of the Spanish Empire. These concerns are not just limited to the political realm for, as Cuckservative explains, import people and you import their culture. The discussions in the book are especially timely considering the refugee crisis currently unfolding in Europe. While the topics of immigration and the sorry state of modern conservatism are familiar territory for the more experienced among us, there were other areas that Cuckservative touched on that might cover new ground for readers of the New American. The chapter Christianity and Cuckservatism went into depth on the strange decline into far-left racial politics that we've witnessed in modern Christianity. As churches across the country lecture their members on the lessons of white privilege and institutional racism, Cuckservative points out the blatant hypocrisy. It never seems to occur to these white guilt trippers that holding today's white Christians responsible for the sins of their 18th century or 1960s counterparts is no different than blaming today's Jews for crucifying Christ. Christians, both left and right, who have bought into the egalitarian premises of the left and support open border policies are described as churchians who have nothing in common with traditional Christianity. The false fruit of churchian multiculturalism can be recognized by what is happening to Christian churches everywhere from Europe to the American Midwest. So-called Christians are not only actively welcoming those who do not worship Jesus Christ to invade their nations, they are also watering down Christian theology and in some cases, literally tearing down the symbols of Christian worship. Overall, the book provides a sound explanation of what's wrong with the conservative movement, as well as why open immigration policies will spell certain political doom for our side. As an e-book, it's very affordable and well worth the price. It's a good book for anyone not familiar with the type of issues regularly covered by the New American, especially for younger readers who are looking for a primer on the main issues facing us today. Readers with a STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math background should appreciate the book the most, owing to its technical and analytical dissection of the issues. Much more could be written about the greater movement that seems to be blossoming in the wake of the Cuckservative meme of 2015. There is definitely a major political realignment taking place, as this loose coalition of mostly young and savvy social media users, who are popularly referred to as the alt-right, continue to push the envelope, one meme at a time. Perhaps that is a subject for Day to tackle in his